dreamer, please.
Hi guys, welcome to the Master Guide series where we will be focusing on hero building. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more guides to progress. In the Master Guide series, everything from equipments, traits, all the way to soul skills and the possible builds for new returning players and veterans will be covered. Subtitles will be available, so do turn them on. We'll be looking at another very important PvE hero today, Aris, who is your single target attack buffer. Aris uses speed weapons. Similar to Rachel, the higher her speed, the sooner she will get her awaken passive up and you will be doing more damage earlier. Furthermore, the higher the speed stat, the more likely Aris will be doing 2 speed attacks, and this will allow her to cool your team's cooldown by 20 seconds in total with 2 speed attacks, and this lets you spam more DPS and higher damaging skills. However, sometimes she's only given 1 or no speed weapon because speed attacks are sometimes considered a waste of time. Special cases will include Demon Pesca and Numo Wang, but of course even if she only has 1 speed weapon, more often she has the highest speed on the team. Like Rachel, Aris will also be geared with weapons varying in tiers, so depending on your team's strategy, this will allow you to manipulate the amount of speed she has relative to the other heroes. Next would be Aris' armor. I would strongly recommend having PvE armor for Aris because she is a super duper essential hero that needs to be kept on the field for PvE, so she has to have the best armor for PvE. There are 3 combinations of armor you will see Aris having, okay? Counter, HP counter, and HP. So counter is a very foolproof way of ensuring that Aris will counter because it pushes her counter rate above 100%. Do note that Aris herself has 50% increase in counter rate. As you know, whenever she counters, your whole team's cooldown will fall by 10 seconds, and this is recommended only if you don't have a counter jewel or counter rate trait. Choosing a counter option will free up the need for a jewel and trait slot for the counter jewel or counter trait, and you can give her something better. The next option is HP counter, and this is when you have either a spare slot for the counter jewel or counter trait, both of which adds 30% counter rate for Aris. So having the additional HP armor will give Aris more bulk and definitely let her live longer. Also do note that your level 20 mastery can also increase counter rate if you feel that it is insufficient. The last combination is more controversial because here Aris counter is not maxed, so there's a chance for Aris to not counter and not cool down your team's skills. Some players see Aris counters as a waste of time, so they opt for this combination. Furthermore, where Kayle is used now, some players also feel that the need for Aris to cool down is somewhat lesser. Another reason for her HP is also because the world bosses deal fixed damage, so having higher HP will allow your Aris to survive much longer. Some players have counter traits and or counter jewel, so they choose to focus on building Aris' bulk with HP armor instead. So to just sum up Aris' armor, it is highly dependent on what other equipment you have and your resource availability. For new players, I would suggest giving her double counter armor because it won't be easy to unlock special traits straight away, and it also won't interfere with the HP armor requirement for your other heroes. Jewels on Aris are pretty straightforward. For new players, you really don't have to bother about the color of the jewel unless you have selectors. Lifesteal is a must. She has no self-sustenance and she needs to be on the field, so giving her lifesteal means that on every counter, Aris will be healing. Another fairly important but harder to get jewel would be the follow of old jewel to increase awakening gauge charge speed. You will want her to buff your single target damage as soon as possible. So for new players, don't worry, you can actually get this easily from the jumping check-in now, so there's no excuses for you. For the third jewel option, it is open to these good ones listed here. Counter if you feel that she's not countering enough. PvE defense increase if you feel that she has problems with her survivability. Debuff resistance. I prefer the PvE debuff resistance because it gives her debuff resistance up to 50%, and coupled with accessories or traits, basically she will have 100% resistance to a certain debuff. Sometimes people give her a chance to live on 1 HP, and this is basically a gambling jewel so that her buff is sustained a little longer. People sometimes also give her attack twice and also increase her basic attack damage. Basically both of this is to allow her to lifesteal more and heal herself more. So for new players, as mentioned, the color is not important. but it is recommended you give her blue and green jewels. Her third jewel slot should be counter to maximize her counter rate while you're building your counter armors. Otherwise, you could go with the rest of the ones listed here. Next, we come to accessories. The evasion ring is a highly important one, and it would really sustain Aris if she manages to skip some damage taken. So the willful ring and guardian ring also helps her to receive less damage taken, especially in the front of the match. When used in World Boss, the preferred accessory for her changes, and evasion will make a good substat, or vice versa. Against Dark Crown Prince, she should be given the accessory to remove buff on basic attack, so there's a chance for her to remove the ready to counter and ready to defend buffs when she counters Dark Crown Prince. All other World Boss will require you to give her relevant resistant rings only if you haven't unlocked her special trait for that resistance. Debuff resistance is highly important for Aris because she's that one hero which you don't want to be immobilized. Against Stormwing and Numo Wang, you should give her Petrify Resist. Against Iron Devourer, Paralyze Resist, Poison Resist against Demon Pascal, and lastly Bleed Resist against Numo Wang. So the resistance rings and debuff resist jewels will give her high resistance towards debuffs if you don't have the unlocked trait. For new and returning players, I feel that there's no stress if you don't have all these accessories. If you have common accessories like Lifesteal, Counter, HP and the rest listed, it will be great for her at an early stage as well. Moving on to traits, Aris is a PvE hero who uses a variety of traits for different situations. Again, you'll be focusing on tab 2 and tab 4. You can give her receive less damage from universal heroes, but I think these are more important, especially Poison Resist and Petrify Resist. Okay, Poison Resist is super important because you don't want Aris to lose HP every time she counters. And Paralyze Resist and Petrify Resist are mainly so that she won't get immobilized. Bleed Resist is because due to her taunt effect, Numo Wang will target her, and if she has bleed on, she will take severe damage from all his speed attacks. So I personally feel that Poison and Petrify Resist are the most important ones because they are statuses that you will face in at least 2 world bosses. Then you can also give a counter rate if you don't have double counter or you don't have a counter jewel. So as you can see, the way to build Aris requires a lot of consideration as she's put in situations where debuffs will greatly reduce her utility. So you have to look at your inventory and decide how to allocate her traits, jewels, accessories accordingly with her armor. So if you have double counter on Aris, then you can focus on giving her jewels and traits that make her debuff resistant and also let her survive longer. If you have a hybrid build, then consider if you want to even give her 100% counter, and if you do, decide if it should be on a jewel or should it be on a trait. If you decide to go full HP, then you should definitely have an additional counter stat somewhere. For Aris' exclusive item, unlock it. Simple, clear-cut decision. Lastly, we'll look at soul skills that are good for Aris. So here are 4 soul skills which are defensive by nature and are very good for protecting and sustaining Aris in your PvE runs. With that, I've come to the end of this master guide to craft your Aris. So if you found this video useful, do give it a like and do subscribe to my channel because more master guides will definitely be coming. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below as well, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much.